What's going on, YouTube? So today we're going to be talking about this 69 Ford Mustang in depth of how we're going to be tearing it down and through all the processes that's going to be needed to get this car back to its former glory. Alright, so what we got on behind me here is I made a real generalized board from where this car needs to be from the beginning to where it ends. Now, I understand that this car obviously needs a lot more work than what I really generalized here, because there's a lot more detail than just what I have listed, from stripping the car and cataloging its components, sending the car up to the dipper where Bryce's Challenger is, inspect the car upon the return from the dipper, and then ordering any sheet metal, obviously, that's going to be required, which we all know this car needs a ton of sheet metal. Get the car off to metal fab after we get all our metal from Dynacorn. While the car is at metal, obviously we're going to be inspecting and looking at anything that's possibly being able to be restored to be reused on the car. And then of course we're going to be looking at upgrading components on the car, so we're going to look at ordering all that at the same time. And then once the car comes back from metal, we're going to be going and sending it off to the paint shop, and we will be painting it again in the Gulfstream Aqua that it is in. This is its original factory color, which is really cool. This is not a very common color. Once the car is back, obviously we're going to reassemble it. So that's just a real generalization of what we start with to what we're going to end with. There's a lot more detail that goes on with these cars, and I know that. So to start with the metal, as you know from all the prior videos here, you can see on the quarter panel is all damaged on not one side, but both sides. So we're going to have to look at doing full quarters, wheelhouses, trunk pan extensions, trunk transition pan into the floor pan, and obviously the floor pan itself, because that's basically rotted, but the rest of it has damage from the impact because this car got hit pretty hard. But not only that, the shock tower in the front is cracked, but that leads us into the upgradable components. Like, I know Detroit Speed makes a shock tower shave kit that I can install into this car, so that way I don't have to have shock towers anymore. We can run a full coilover suspension. So really and truly, this car has endless options to pick from when it comes to upgrading and then restoring the car, because in the end, you have to have the mindset of what you want the car to be at the end of the project, because if you're going back and forth, you might end up with a car with a bunch of mishmash parts all over it, and it's not really destined to do what it was originally thought out to do for you, and you wasted all your time and your money on it. So I'm going to be real thorough with the car of what I want to do with it, and in my mind right now, I want to make this a tour vehicle, so that way my wife and I can go on trips with it, so we can ride in comfort but still have some fun with it and have a lot of modern features on the car. So basically what I'm going to be looking at is a resto mod. So because I want modern brakes from either Bear or Willwood to QA1 suspension or Detroit Speed suspension. I want something that's going to drive and handle like a newer vehicle, but obviously we're still going to retain the older body, like obviously what a resto mod is. So that's where I want to see the car in the end result once we get to the point of actually reassembly and restoring the car, because that's going to be way down the road. This is not an overnight project. There's a lot to this car of needing a lot of attention to get the job done properly. And then obviously we have to work with you know, making sure parts are on back order, and then wherever I send the car to be able to get the car done within a timely manner to whatever metal fab shop I plan on sending it to, because personally I am not going to attempt to do the metal work on this car myself. I am not a welder by trade. I absolutely suck at welding. Yes, some people can say you should try anyways. Honestly, I'd rather have the car done right and get it done the first time without me messing anything up, to be real and honest. The idea here is we're going to yank the engine out. So we're going to get all the wires, all the hoses taken apart, undone, get them out of the way. I'm going to have to borrow a cherry picker. I don't really feel like spending $300 on a cherry picker for one-time use, because I'm not going to use it again probably for a very long time. So 300 bucks on a cherry picker doesn't seem like a very smart idea. So hopefully somebody can let me borrow one. Bryce has already let me borrow his engine stand, so I gotta go pick that up tomorrow so I can put this 302 up on a stand at least, so that way we can put it into storage with a bag over it or something like that. So, but obviously what I was talking about upgrading things is these shock towers here this one is cracked down in here. Let me shine a light down in there for you. So in prior videos, you've seen that there is an upper control arm literally poking out right through here into the shock tower. So what I could do because of this is I can literally get the kit from Detroit Speed and I can shave the shock towers completely since that one's already damaged. I don't think the frame rail is damaged, but it very well could be. When it comes to the engine and what I got to upgrade and stuff, these headers have seen very much better days. That sits right here and it goes vertically all the way down with all 4 tubes in a row down, and then it goes 4 to 4 to 1. So we're not going to be reusing these. Obviously we're not going to be reusing the intake manifold. We're not going to be reusing the carburetor. We're going to do cam, a bunch of other stuff to it, honestly, when it comes to helping it breathe. That's the whole main goal. And obviously we'll be running a Holley Sniper EFI system because I do want injection on the car because I want more reliability for more long hauls at this point. So when it comes to the engine we know is good. We're going to upgrade a few other things on it like I just went over. But when it comes down over to here to the interior, this thing has seen much, much better days. As you can tell, everything is there. But we're going to gut the whole car because we're going to send it to the dipper, obviously. And we're going to have to catalog everything that's inside this car to know what is good and what is bad. This is my favorite part of the whole car, by the way, is this. I really want to leave it in the car because I think it's hilarious.
No.
I honestly love it, especially when you got these 2 wires that literally come right out of the glove box and go right through the firewall. I mean, that just adds much, much more redneck-like repairs, if you know what I mean. So everything in the car is going to have to get cataloged. There we go. And gone through. Luckily enough, one of the biggest major things that I'm happy about, because of the accident that it did have, the rear glass is okay. There is nothing wrong with my glass. I do not want to have to replace this. So luckily enough, all the trim is there. It's got a little bit of a booger up on the trim on that side, but that's really honestly not too bad. So that looks like it might be able to be sent out to somebody who can work on trim and be able to straighten that piece out. But luckily enough, the glass is good. My truck is good from what I think. I mean, obviously the gaps aren't lining up, but that's because obviously the car got hit hard enough to where all these gaps are not going to be lined up with the tail extension piece. All these gaps are off, as you can tell right in here from when I got hit. Now there could be also underlying body work that was done prior to the damage, so there's still a lot of hidden stuff that might be underneath the paint. I do know the left quarter panel on the driver's side has Bondo in it. You can see I got body filler in here, so I know there's Bondo in the quarter, so there has been somebody else here working on the car prior. Now the dipper will obviously reveal all of that. I just want to give a huge shout out to Robert. He's been a really good friend for all these years, and he knows a thing or two about buying cars and knowing the rules and laws of registering vehicles that have not been in the DMV system for all these years. Because if I didn't have him at the DMV with me and I went by myself, I honestly would have went home with my tail between my legs, because he knew something that they tried to bully me on while he was standing there, and he called him out on it, and he was right. So what's cool is, in this envelope, this car is finally papered in my name after all these years, because my wife and I did attempt to get this car papered in the past, but DMV kept sending us in circles and circles and circles, and then life happens. So then the car gets parked and put to the side, and then it gets put to the back burner. So I'm really thankful for a friend that was able to come through and help me out and get this car papered finally in my name. Thank you for watching, everybody. Please stay tuned for more episodes to come on this car. There's plenty more to come, trust me. So much work ahead of us, but it's gonna be such a journey. Please come and join this journey with me. Like and subscribe, and make sure to hit that notification button.